everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. I am Althea Rain.
I'm Halo Smythe.
And Yuri Inoku.
And we are your hosts for Tre Geek. And the next thing that we got to talk about this week, and oh god, we are dreading this one. We are dreading this one. We hate this. The Velma series. Okay, first and foremost, we grew up on Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And the Scooby-Doo movies, where they featured people like the Globetrotters or Don Knotts. Or even the Addams Family. They had them on one.
They even had multiple times Batman, Adam West, and Burt Ward.
Yes. Laurel and Hardy were another ones that they featured. The Scooby-Doo movies had so many famous people on them back in the day. And we even grew up with a pup named Scooby-Doo. So we had all of that. Or Scrappy-Doo. We had all of that in our childhood. And we absolutely, had a blast watching that stuff. When I was a teenager, or we first had the Scooby-Doo movies, where the actual movies were Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers, Scooby-Doo, and I think they even had one where they crossed over with Josie and the Pussycats. But we had like three movies when I was growing up. And then suddenly we had new ones, like the Witch's Ghost or the zombie one. I didn't like those ones as much because we crossed over from the realm of Scooby-Doo into actual supernatural stuff when it had always been just some guy in a mask before.
Exactly. It was like like the bad guys were humans. Like that was it. And it's nothing supernatural on it. I remember the 13 ghosts of the Scooby-Doo and the 13th ghosts or the 13th ghosts of Scooby-Doo, the one where Vincent Price was in.
Oh yeah.
That was good. I like it.
So we crossed over into a little bit too much of the supernatural stuff with some of those movies for my liking. Witch's Ghost was okay. The zombie one was okay. But I thought they were nothing to really write home about. And then you had the live action movies. The first one did not receive very well. It was not received very well. Probably because of the way that they handled Scrappy-Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
It was still better
than
than the second one, I think.
I think the second one was better. I liked that one better.
Really?
Yeah, but they were all right. Again, they were meh. They were not too bad.
Exactly.
But now we have a completely new story.
Quote unquote reinvented.
We've had a lot of controversy in recent months regarding this one. Not just with this new one, but there was an article that came out several months ago that talked about Velma being gay. And then they were going to do some kind of comic or some kind of thing that showcased her, Velma being gay. And then, like, right after that, HBO Max came out with something that completely threw that under the bus. Not only did they change her up, but they changed her race. And not only did they change her race, but they changed her size, too. They changed the whole character.
Basically everything about her.
Everything about Velma, they changed. It wasn't just one thing or another. It was the whole kit and caboodle. They changed everything about her. And I watched the trailer, and now we're going to watch it so you guys don't have to. Because why not?
To be perfectly honest, it's like that article came out about, her being gay. I've like purposely been trying to avoid this topic. Like I've been purposely not watching videos about it. I have not watched the trailer. So this is going to be completely new to me because I've really been trying to just like not pay attention to this and pretend it's not happening.
I mean, I don't care much about it, but like people have been commenting like, "Oh, oh yeah, it shows. It was always there." I'm like, "No. She was following a bunch of guys. Even the crossover with Supernatural, she had the crush on Sam Winchester."
Yeah. I thought the whole thing was that I always thought the thing with Velma I always thought the thing with Velma was that she was crushing on Fred, but Fred was in the Daphne. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't that the entire dynamic?
I guess. I mean, that was the natural assumption. So that's why Fred would always separate and always take Daphne and Velma or Daphne alone.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Shaggy was always with Scooby, so bye.
Yeah, and Velma was like kind of like the nerdy one who like didn't quite. She was kind of the third wheel that didn't quite fit in with either of them. I think there's some like good reasons to have that representation in a
E-
children's cartoon.
exactly, like those kids that know stuff. Like Velma was like
She's super
smart. She
smart.
was the
Yeah.
she was the brains of the dang group. She was the one who created all the traps. Her and Fred would, because Fred was the brawn basically. Like if anything, he ran, but if he knew what it was, he would like face it head on. Um, Shaggy and Scooby were the comedy relief. Daphne was just there,
Yeah, pretty
in my
much.
opinion. In my
Yeah.
opinion, she was just there.
Daphne was just like the popular,
But then
pretty
you get
attractive one that everyone liked for no
a
reason.
yeah, but then you have a background on them, on each of them, and a pup named Scooby Doo. Daphne grew up rich with rich parents. That's why in some of the cartoon episodes, she always had like a butler come in. I think that one of them was that was the running joke. She had a butler come in and fix things for them or do stuff for them. Um, I'm just remembering that. But it's they have their own stuff, and let's see how much it changed with the trailer for Velma.
Yeah. So here we are, so that you guys don't have to watch this. This was the first teaser that was released 3 months ago. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dear HBO Max, I just learned you intend to make a genre-bending comedic origin story of Judy Jetson. When I heard this new version of
Watch that.
Did you guys hear what she
Totally
said?
watch an origin story of Judy Jetson. That sounds
Judy
really
Jetson.
interesting. I love the Jetsons more than
I
I like
love
Scooby Doo.
Yeah, but
I
hear what she
love the
says at the end.
Jetsons.
Huh?
of Judy Jetson wouldn't be boy crazy, the only word I had to describe my disgust is jinkies. If there is one thing the internet agrees on, it's that you should never change anything ever. I hope you die.
Confused right now. She hopes they die because they would change the origin story of Judy Jetson.
I
Right.
think it's
Well, it's
because
because of the fact that they wouldn't make her boy crazy. Now, Judy Jetson was not boy
exactly
crazy. This was
boy
something that made
crazy.
her who she was. She was always talking about those boys, right?
Yeah.
It was part of her character
Hmm.
because that was establishing the stereotype of what teenagers were like back in the day
Back then, yeah.
and what they're still like today because that is a stereotype that has not changed.
Yeah, it's like she would be if she was here now, she would be going crazy with BTS and all this like
So,
they are.
what we're really looking at here is a breaking of the fourth wall. I've paused it right on the Dear HBO Max screen. It says Dear
Yeah.
HBO Max, which is hilarious considering it's HBO Max that is making this story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just learned that that you intend to make a genre-bending comedic origin story of Judy Jetson. When I heard that this new version of Judy Jetson wouldn't be boy crazy, the only word I had to describe against describe my disgust as jinkies. If there's one thing the internet agrees on is that you should never change anything ever. I hope you die. This is taking a absolute jab at the people who have been commenting their distaste for how certain people change things.
Hmm.
You realize this is a jab at people like us.
Yeah, basically that's an attack on anybody that says that, hey, don't change the original material. The source material is there for a reason. Like, don't change it. Is it that hard of is it that hard?
Like even Spider-Man. Let's take a look at Spider-Man for example. Yes, we have Miles Morales who is absolutely a person of color and I'm happy that he exists. But they
Yeah,
did
but
not take Peter Parker and
mhm.
change him.
Yeah.
They brought in somebody new, which is
Yes.
admirable.
Mhm.
I Miles Morales. I don't have any problem with his character. I think it was a unique way to like have
But it's
someone come in
not.
and pick up the mantle when Peter
Yes.
Parker is no longer a teenager. Because how long can he be a teenager?
Or
Well,
in certain
technically
cases,
he was a.
if you look at the Into the Spider-Verse movie in Miles Morales' world, Peter Parker died, if I
Hey,
recall.
but I guess my
Yes.
point is, yeah, Peter Parker dies. Yes, that's correct. Spoiler
Mhm.
alert, by the way. Peter Parker dies, but I guess the point is like an adult Peter Parker doesn't make a whole lot of like the
The
stories don't make as
but
much sense.
the thing is that Peter Parker was originally already in university, like finishing up university when he was created. It wasn't until recently that they started making him younger and younger until now he's, the
A high schooler.
exactly the high schooler. But
Supposed to
my
be like
at least
a coming of age metaphor, like his transition into Spider-Man was always supposed to be like a metaphor for coming of age and going through puberty and things like that. So like having his story as a 30-year-old man doesn't really like
yeah,
it doesn't make as much sense.
that's why they started to put him younger and younger. Toby Maguire's character, he started
In high
like
school.
in high school, but it was at the end of it when they went into college.
Right.
And then Andrew Garfield's
Was around the
was
same age.
around the same age.
And now we've
And
got Tom Holland who is still in high school thanks to the
yes.
blip.
And now after the whole fight, now is when after No Way Home, that's when he starts college. So it's like it took two more movies to
To get him
get
down
him
to
to
the
college.
age.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so comparing that to something like Judy Jetson, do, these people who are attacking us are failing to realize that the reason why we get bent out of shape over these changes is because of the fact that those were the things we grew up with. Those were our childhoods.
Get it.
We
Like
grew
they
up with Velma who she was
mhm.
or with
And
Judy
I get
Jetson
it. They want to change it to this new
to fit modern audiences.
to fit the new audiences, but let's get this straight. When you're doing a reboot or something from a classic, your target audience will be the older generation because they will want to watch it by thanks to nostalgia, and they would want to share it with their families. Like if you're going to mess up something that has an original and has a following, like Scooby Doo, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, all those old cartoons that we grew up with.
Some of them come from our parents' era. My mom
Exactly.
watched the Jetsons as a kid and the Flintstones and
Mhm.
all of that. It was Hanna-Barbera. And let me
Yeah.
tell you something, and I'm in full agreement with that. I understand that you want to try to bring in new audiences and share the fandom, but that's why the old fandom exists. I could easily take any part of my childhood. Let's take Gargoyles, Chippendale,
Mhm.
DuckTales, Scooby Doo, all of those things that
And
I grew
show
up
it to
with,
our
and I
kids.
could show it to my offspring or my or the next generation after, that still applies today. Maybe not all of it is great. Let's take old Tom and Jerry. There were definitely some aspects of older cartoons that were
Mhm.
definitely racist. And in the words of Whoopi Goldberg, just because they weren't okay, they're not okay now, doesn't mean that they were okay back then. But it is important to show the history so that we can learn from it, as well as enjoy the good parts that existed without minimalizing the roles of people who did portray those parts back then. For example, I think it was Gone with the Wind or something like that. It was taken off its streaming platform for a time because of certain racist stereotypes against, I think, one of the maids or whatever.
Yeah,
But
the like mammy stereotype.
mammy
Yeah,
stereotype. But let me tell you something. All that does is diminishes the work of the actress who portrayed that character. Look at
it's
what
like
happened with Aunt Jemima's syrup. They
yeah,
took
it's like
that away from her.
yeah, it's like Peter Dinklage. Like Peter Dinklage is now like, oh, I won't take a role, any kind of role that's designed for little people is offensive, and they shouldn't happen, and people shouldn't be able to take those roles, and I
He
won't take
went off.
roles designed for little people. Well, what made him the actor he is today?
Taking roles that were
Mhm.
meant for little people. Look at what he did to Snow White. He made this big complaint about the little people, about the dwarves in Snow White, and guess what? A whole bunch of little people lost their jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so basically what he's done is he's climbed the ladder and then pulled it up behind him so that no one else gets the
Eh,
benefit of that same ladder.
That's
What
it.
happened to
But
being able
that's
to take your own shortcomings? And I don't mean that as a pun. I just realized I
yeah.
said that. What what about taking parts about yourself and being able to enjoy them? Look at the little person who was in Jackass. He made fun of himself all the time and did like all kinds of skits where he traded places with somebody else. There's a TikToker who's a little person who does these videos where he has like he'll grab somebody will ask him to grab a certain alcoholic beverage off the shelf. He'll grab this big old jug to hand it to him, and in the next scene, she's holding a mini version of the drink and is like, "What the hell
Yeah.
is this?" and hands it back to him. What happened to being able to make fun of yourself to enjoy those
But that's
things
a
that are different about you?
But that's the thing that they're doing that to make fun of themselves. Like those are people that have such a good confidence on who they are and what they can do. But the problem we're having is that people get offended for them when they're not offended at
For
all.
themselves, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
So you have people like Peter Dinklage, like I said, he complained about the dwarves in Snow White, and a whole bunch of little people lost their jobs for it, and some of them even slandered him or slammed him for it. He got
Yeah,
Hmm.
lambasted for what he said. And they're like, "Great, you just lost me a job, man. What the hell is
Yeah,
wrong with you?" Little people need jobs too, and sometimes you need a role that calls for a little person. Look at the
exactly.
original Willow.
he got famous another
Exactly.
way. It's not like he got famous another way. He got famous by taking jobs that were designed for little people. Like if he had
Hmm.
always had that attitude, okay, fair enough. But that's clearly not the case. He got famous by taking roles that were designed for little people, like dwarves and elves. And did he play the elf in or not the elf, the little short little person in Elf? He was like that writer, that children's book writer that everybody loved. And he got mad when Elf kept when he kept getting called an elf.
Oh.
Mm.
Um,
But going back to all of this, there's nothing wrong with us getting upset because of the media from our childhoods being changed for no other reason than modern audiences and diversity. I would think, and maybe this is the approach that we need to take. I would think it would be offensive to change a white character to a person of color, because now instead of getting a brand new character with cultural influences from your ethnic background, now you are getting our culture, our races leftovers. Wouldn't that be the more offensive thing to you? And let me make this clear, we're not being racist here. I am equally offended and equally disgusted anytime somebody gets whitewashed too. I don't agree with it no matter what the race is and no matter what the race ends up being. I am not pleased with it.
Hello. What better movie than Dragon Ball Evolution?
Oh god, that is a movie we don't talk about. Or Avatar: The
Exactly.
Last Airbender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the worst case of whitewashing, and I hated for
But
that.
look at
Yeah, that's
Ghost in the
So,
another one
Shell.
where I try to forget that exists.
But look
I
at
just
Ghost in
really
the
yeah.
Shell. Even they asked a lot of Japanese people about Ghost in the Shell, and Japanese people did not have any problems with how they cast Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell.
Mhm.
Saragi was white and goes to the it's a white character in the comic. The only reason people are upset because they didn't understand the manga because she's white.
Yeah, Japanese people
She's
had no problem
she's
with it. The only people
because
getting
she's a white character.
yes, but what I'm saying is the only people that are getting offended are people getting offended on Japanese's behalf.
Exactly.
We need to stop getting offended on the behalves of other people instead of letting them talk for themselves. Isn't it so racist to think that people can't talk for themselves? Hello? So, this is something that is on topic for us. And these people, even in this very teaser, are attacking us for getting upset when we see these things being done.
And this is like it's not just it's I don't know, it's like there's a trend here where like IPs are being adopted, but they don't want the original fans to watch it. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like they actively do not want to attract the original fans. Like
Or like The
look at
Witcher
Fallout.
that said, we hate the original source material.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like Fallout 76 is another good example where like the things that people liked in Fallout are not the things that they focused on when they made Fallout 76. And it seems like they were designing the game to attract a totally different audience than the audience that made Fallout 6
Oh
or
yeah, my
Fallout
husband won't have anything to do with
franchise.
that. My husband won't have anything to do with Fallout 76. He
It's
refuses.
terrible. And it's like they took all the good, like the role playing aspects, the single player aspects of the game, the really complex story trees. They took all of that out and they're like, let's make it a looter shooter where you just like run around and collect junk. You pick up trash and turn it into bases. And let's get rid of all of the role play elements of the game. That is what made it big. It's like, and this is not like a case of someone like another company getting this franchise. It's the same company that made Fallout 3. But it's like they are actively trying to get a different audience. They don't want the audience that loved the IP from the beginning. That's not good enough. They need to get a new audience into the
Yeah.
game, even if it's the cost of their old audience. And I don't
And that's
understand
what's most
where
offensive
that
to
comes
me.
from.
That's the
Yeah.
part that's most offensive to me about it. You guys are attacking us. 2016's Ghostbusters, we talked about this one before. Not only did they change everything about it, they started attacking the fans who of the original Ghostbusters, with McCarthy saying something about some of the ire and backlash coming from people living in their grandma in their mother's basements, accusing fans of being that person just because whatever. So
I
I
mean,
digress. Let's continue.
Sincerely, Velma. Well, at least Judy's still white.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh
at
my
least
god.
Judy's still white. Oh my god,
I think we've already
bruh.
said everything that needs to be said here. I don't know if
Hey,
there's
you
anything
do
to
know?
Yeah,
add.
but to hear it still, just no.
Hey, I remember something that happened to me. So at school where I work, um, Halloween last year I did Velma as my
Oh God.
costume.
Yeah, that's right.
So this year I just did it again. I was like, I don't have anything else right now, and I have the costume there. A student actually approached me and said, um, Velma is not white. I'm like, I looked at and I'm not that white, but I am considered white.
You're
Um,
Puerto Rican.
it
You're literally Latina, and you're now being considered white.
yeah. If you people see me and everything, oh yeah, you're white. I was like,
No.
well, it's interesting. It's interesting. A lot of things happen with some of our students and how they ask me questions, and I'm like, I'm Latina. I'm Puerto Rican. I got a lots of, you know, my great grandmother was actually a slave, and she got pregnant because the owner's son actually had what with her and left her pregnant. That's how my dad's side of the family came to be.
Oh
So
wow.
so it's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
so it was interesting. I looked at her. I looked at the student and I was like, well, that's now, but it doesn't change the fact that Velma is still, the quirky
Geek.
Velma, the geeky Velma and the smart Velma. Um, so she looked at me and be like, "No, you're not her anymore. You're not her." And she walked away. I was like,
That's just rude.
no,
So
I was like,
rude because
I was taken aback. I mean, they're middle schoolers, so I get it, but
But what that just means is that this propaganda is being pushed onto them by their parents and by people around them. And
mhm.
I tell you what, I wouldn't have the balls to speak to an adult that way when I was a kid. I would
No,
not
but
have the
that's the thing.
balls.
That's the thing. Like, what? I got surprised. Like that. Just like I looked at her. I was
That
like,
kid needs an ass whooping. I'll tell you
"N-
that right
but
now.
mm,
here's the thing, like, so when I was in elementary school, Pocahontas had just come out, and I wanted to be Pocahontas for for Halloween because
Halloween."
I loved Pocahontas. I thought the
Mm-hmm.
point of Halloween was that you get to dress up as something that you are not.
And that you will
Isn't
never
that
be. Right.
yeah, and that you will never be. Well, I mean, I guess there's a case where you might dress up as an astronaut and become an astronaut one day. But yeah, most of the time you're dressing up as something you're not. I'll never be a princess. If I dress up as a princess, that's not going to happen. Um, but isn't that the whole point of Halloween? Is it's a day where you get a free pass to just be whoever you want to be. And luckily back then the Pocahontas movie was popular, and so people understood that it was just a little girl who liked Disney princesses and wanted to be
Exactly.
Pocahontas for Halloween.
Hmm.
But is it the whole? I never understood this when you can't cross races. I see people doing it all the time at Dragon Con. I've seen plenty of black Batmans and black
Exactly.
Spider-Mans and black
That's
stormtroopers, even though stormtroopers, I don't know if you could really know what their races are.
yeah.
Black Darth Vader. I went to a work event
Hmm.
where I dressed up as Princess Leia and had my picture taken with a black Queen Amidala and a black Darth Vader. And we all were like, "Hey, mom, dad," we played it
That's
up,
funny.
even though we're in totally different races. I'm white
Oh
and
my
they're black.
god.
It was so
But that
cute.
Unknown caller. Spooky. Hello? Velma Dinkley speaking.
Hello, Velma. Do you like solving mysteries?
Yeah, but I'm actually much more three-dimensional than that. Who is this?
That's the mystery. And solve it quick, because I'm in your house.
A serial killer calling from inside my house? Yes, that's a classic, and that's my point. Why change anything when the classics all still work, right?
Oh my god.
Okay,
she's
how many
still
fourth
going at
wall
what?
breaks is this now?
Too
Like,
many. Too many.
we're in 1 minute. How many? We had like 4 or 5 fourth wall breaks at this point.
Something like that.
Is there any other type of joke?
Apparently
Or
not.
why
I'm
does she have
three-dimensional.
a
I'm three-dimensional. Oh God.
One thing that I'm noticing, that picture in the background, that's Daphne with her eyes crossed. Like,
Yeah, because
I
this
was
is
wondering what that was.
some sort of teenage drama. Anyway.
yeah.
Wait, you're inside my house!
Oh, it took her that long to figure out that he actually is. It took her that long to get to that part. That's the kind of humor we're at right now. Jesus.
What is that written on the mailbox? Can you go back a couple of seconds? It says something like, "What is Scooby Doo" on the mailbox?
What is Scoob? What is
Was
Scoob?
Scooby?
Scooby.
Scooby
What's
with an
Dinkley
eye.
like scratched out, and it says,
Oh,
"What is
that's
Scooby?"
that's the in the beginning the person used a knife to cross Dinkley, but I don't know if in the beginning that thing was written there. I don't think so.
What is
Um,
Scooby?
no.
I don't know
Yes,
that.
it
Oh.
wasn't.
Oh, so like the serial killer must have that's in her house must have
Yeah.
So we
wrote
only
what
got
is
1
Scooby in her
minute. We only
mailbox.
got 1 minute of content, and we bitched about it for a lot of time.
Mhm.
I mean, come. And what's with this, Mindy? Okay, I know what they're going for. Mindy calling is, but doesn't it look like Mindy is calling?
Yeah, it does look like Mindy is calling. That's what.
Like
That's
they
the way I
didn't
read it.
even. Yeah, that's how I read it first too. Because jeez.
Because you read left to right.
Yeah. Mindy
Like,
is
why not
calling.
just put
That's what I
the
read.
is?
That's what I read. They chose some of the. Oh my god.
He was like, "Yeah, I really want a show about Velma."
I don't know, but now we've got this.
Oh, is there more?
Yes, this one was released a few days ago for the official trailer. That was just the teaser.
Okay.
Story told my way. Jinkies!
Told my way.
My name is Velma Dinkley, and I've decided to finally share.
What in the actual hell?
What is she doing?
Don't
Did
know.
she not? Did she not know what would happen if she did that?
No, they're just changing her whole they're
Look.
reinventing her basically. They're making her reinvent herself, quote unquote.
Yeah, let's. I hate this so much.
Look at her. They changed her to the original hairstyle for a second.
The bone-chilling events that drove me to assemble the greatest team of spooky mystery solvers ever. This is my story, told
So she's the
my
one
way.
who put the game together then in this universe.
Brain!
Oh,
I'm not
my
dissing
God.
her. She has no brain.
I'm not dissing her.
Yeah, because Daphne got
brainless.
Like,
because
how dare you
Daphne
say
got
that?
like
I
yeah,
don't
like
like what they did to Daphne either. I don't like it.
It doesn't. I wouldn't even recognize her, Daphne, if I didn't like have the context here. I wouldn't know who she was.
Murder. If I can't convince people I didn't kill Brenda, I'm going to be arrested.
I know, but I also know how to find out who did kill Brenda. I think it has something to do with drugs.
Okay, so they're not only just changing him a little bit, but like
oh, they
come
change
on,
him a lot.
I'm not
Who's
just talking.
this?
Okay, this is supposed to be Shaggy. This is Norville.
Mhm.
Look. Let's say race swap aside. Shaggy was always
Howard.
a coward. He was
Yeah.
never smart like this. It was always the joke that he and Scooby were eating Scooby snacks, and people kept on thinking he was high as hell.
Yeah, isn't
Yeah.
that the joke? Because like Scooby snacks were like drugs.
Mhm.
Isn't
They were
isn't
the
that the whole
potheads
joke?
of the. They were the potheads of the group.
Exactly.
He was never
He was never the
portrayed as
leader.
somebody that had that kind of brain power.
He was
Most
never
of
the
the
leader
stuff-
of the group.
He was, and most of the stuff it was based on pure luck.
So
But they got
our
something.
problems here. Push the race aside, and our problems are coming in with their personality changes. They are different people. You may, if you had not named this with Scooby Doo, if or with Velma, if you had changed the names completely, changed their looks just a little bit more to where they weren't wearing the same attire, quote quote, if you had changed just a little bit more, you'd never be able to recognize these as the characters that we grew up to love.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
why not
not
just make a
talking
different
just
show?
I'm not just talking about the race.
Why not just make a different show if you want different characters? Like, why
Hmm?
even try to
Because
monetize the nostalgia if you're
Without
not
having
willing?
any of the content that made it.
because Hollywood it ran out of ideas. That's literally it. They ran out of ideas. They can't create new content. They just can't. Like, why have reboots of everything? We talked about it in the Harry Potter version. They're trying to reboot Harry Potter. Why?
Yeah, they usually at least wait a generation.
Mhm.
Okay, Wizard of Oz is a reboot.
Exactly.
They usually, but they waited until like no one who remembers the original Wizard of Oz was
But in a
alive, basically,
but in
before
a
they
way it
rebooted
wasn't a but in a way it wasn't a reboot, right? It was a prequel to the
the
original one.
original. Mm, I don't know. I don't know anything about the original one.
I don't
But
know.
see, that's the point. Like, no one
Yeah.
remembers the original one.
Anyway.
Which I hate.
Hey, Fred.
Do I know you?
It's Velma from school.
I have a disease where I can't recognize people who aren't hot.
Is it called rudeness?
Oh my god, that is rude.
He was never that rude.
He was always a charismatic character.
Yeah, he was like the approachable
I just
jock.
want to bang my head against the wall. The way they were portraying Fred in this is just making me want to unalive myself for the moment.
Illness!
Hey, Daphne.
I need a favor.
Why would I do that? We're not friends anymore. We're nemesises.
Nemesis.
And that's why.
That's
Okay.
why.
Why?
Okay, I can kind of justify, like, if they have some backstory written into this version of the story where they have a falling out, I guess I can say,
Well, they
like,
did that already.
fine.
Though. That's the problem. They did that with the original live-action movie. Do you
That's true.
remember? They did this already with the live-action movie with
Yeah,
Sarah
the first
Michelle
one.
Gellar and everything. They came
Yes.
together on the island after having already had a fallout.
Mhm.
That
That's
was the
why
entire
Daphne.
premise of how they got to the island. They all came together, and you had this segment of them seeing each other for the first time in years after they'd had a fallout.
That's a good point.
And they did it much better in that.
Yeah.
For all you wondering why the police have not yet caught the serial killer, it's because it's a ghost.
Jinkies.
Maybe it's one of those doors where you push in a brick and it opens.
Fred, wait.
What?
That doesn't make sense.
None of
None
that
of this
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
I just don't even know what to say about it because it just like I can't even articulate why it doesn't make
I
sense.
can't. I'm just like groaning. Like right now, I wish I could just gouge my eyes out.
Hmm.
I have a plan.
I love danger.
What
Shaggy
is
never
this?
had-
Shaggy has
Shaggy
never
never
said,
had
"I have a plan." Yes. The plan was basically Fred or,
To run.
or Velma.
Or his plan
Mhm.
would be, we will run this way or go hide
And eat some Scooby snacks.
and eat some Scooby snacks. And every time anybody pointed to them as the bait, which was practically every episode, mind you,
Mhm.
they were like, but why me? They never had a
Exactly.
plan. They never had a plan. And why are we looking at
God.
Velma's ass in this, in the mirror?
I'm wondering, like, why
We're
am I
trying
looking at
to-
her butt? Is she twerking in the mirror?
Yes.
Oh my god,
Yes.
is she twerking?
She's twerking.
Oh my god!
Oh
She
my
just
gosh,
broke
she
the mirror
broke
with
the
her
mirror.
ass!
God.
That's a pretty funny joke, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to think of it at the same time.
What's with the twerking? Do we
It's-
have to add twerking to
I-
everything now?
It seems a bit problematic that they changed the character to like they race swapped the character and then like want to make a joke about her twerking and breaking the
And
mirror.
made her a stereotype.
Yeah.
Literally. Nobody. No.
Since when did Shaggy ever do that?
Oh God.
When did Shaggy ever bust in a door on somebody?
Yeah, I think the
It was a
joke is
running
like
joke.
running in and out of doors, like, but not busting through doors.
Yeah.
You might have more success with this if you went in just a little less judgy.
Okay, Daphne, I'm the brains of this operation. You're just the look, style, and effortless charm.
We do.
Look, style, and effortless charm. Velma never said that about her.
Mm-hmm.
Velma never would have said that about her.
FU on the wall.
Yep.
Is that like a FU to the audience?
Well, that's an
Maybe.
FU to me. That
Well,
is an FU to me.
yeah. I mean, high school they do that all the time. School
but
they do that all the time. But yeah, it's interesting how they just put it right in the middle of the screen.
We do make a good team, don't we?
What the
In
heck?
this day and age, you can't speculate.
And in that moment, I loved her. That's what I heard in the background of my head.
About someone's sexuality unless they're famous or Peppermint Patty.
Peppermint Patty into this.
Who's Peppermint Patty?
Charlie Brown.
Oh! Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
What is? Wait, was Shaggy
Have-
wearing a dress? Did I see that right?
Is that
It's
like a
nursing
hospital
thing, like a
gown?
hospital gown. But why is he wielding a sword and looking angry like he's gonna...
Like hiya something?
He was... I think I'm gonna cry.
The rules feel a bit muddy.
Muddy? Oh, sorry I'm not a drunk on the verge of losing custody like every other woman solving murders these days.
What?
Is that okay? What show could that be a reference to? It's clearly a reference to some show. Drunk woman on the verge of losing custody who's solving murders. Lucifer? She's not drunk though. She's pretty well put together. And she's never on the verge of losing custody, so that wouldn't be it. Unless you just count being
All our
divorced.
classmates are idiots.
What
so
could that be a
let's assume
reference
they're
to?
high.
You know what 420 is, right?
Yeah, it's code for adults who still watch cartoons.
So now they're making fun of the audience again for watching cartoons. But see,
Yeah.
that's the
She
thing.
asked
They don't.
what's 420. She clearly doesn't know because 420 is weed. Okay?
Exactly.
And now she's making fun of adults who still watch cartoons in a cartoon that is meant for adults to watch cartoons. Anybody else see the problem with this?
They really hate the audience. It's like I said, it's this trend where they really don't want the existing audience. And they will do whatever they can to like not to not have that existing audience watch the show. Or show their disdain for the existing audience. And you can see it in everything, in video games, in like movies, The Witcher, Halo, in this case, Velma.
Well,
I don't know what the obsession is with like going against and like
well, we're
trying
not
to
the
get the
only
current
ones.
audience to hate the IP.
Well, here was something that was actually surprising. So, I mean, we're obviously not the only ones that hate this. It has a really low review on Rotten Tomatoes, but even Entertainment Weekly has an article by a guy named Darren Franich or Franich, I don't know. But This article says, Velma review, a promising reinvention is wasted on lame jokes, prequelitis, and bad meta. Now, I want to point out this guy is woke. I do believe he liked She-Ra. Okay, he was a
Uh-huh.
shill for She-Ra, and he hates this show. Um, so
I mean,
pausing
it's
for
gotten. Oh,
sorry, I'm trying to find the place, so I'm pausing for just a brief moment here. Down in one of the paragraphs, he says this. At Crystal Cove High School, Daphne, Constance Wu, is a popular mean girl orphan who deals drugs because of a dark family secret. Her boyfriend Fred, Glenn Howerton, personifies mediocre white richness. His mansion holds a dark secret. Okay, pausing the read for a second. Who the fuck doesn't have a dark secret in this? Apparently.
that's pretty weird. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, seems like there's a trend here.
Okay. His mansion holds a dark secret, and he has teeny widow privates, a subject of much conversation. What conversation? Who wants to
Yeah,
think
why?
about a cartoon character's teeny little privates? And why is it even said that he has teeny little privates?
Draw him that way.
No, because there's scenes in which Daphne like grabs his butt and tries to
Sexually
get it
harasses
go.
him.
Yeah, basically, and he's like, I don't want to do anything. Like Daphne, not here. Like, because they were out in public. Like he was very. It looked like he was uncomfortable with how Daphne was so aggressive and like grabbing everything, and that's why that's
Yeah.
the whole joke because he didn't want to go forward with Daphne.
So, next part. Shaggy has become Norville, Sam Richardson, a school newspaper striver friend-zoned by his beloved Velma. He worries he's a beta male. Remember that lame humor concept from 20 years ago? So, I mean, this guy is absolutely dunking all over this stupid ass show. And like really what it boils down to is if even somebody who loved the She-Ra stuff is now dunking on this, it is bad.
Well, yeah, I was really surprised to find out that the critic reviews score, because I expected the critic reviews to be like amazing for the show, and even the critic reviews are really, really, really low and bad. So
The critic ratings are at 55% and the audience score is at only 7%, and there are
oh,
3,229 user ratings from them and 20 critic ratings. So only 11 rated fresh ratings from critics, and 9 of them are rated rotten. The average rating is from the audience score is 0.9. We don't even
wow.
have an average rating of 1.
I didn't know you could rate something less than 1. I guess you can rate it like 0.5.
I guess.
Yeah, you can rate it 0.5, not a full star. Instead of 5 stars, half a star is the lowest you can rate.
This person put Constantina, not only is this not funny, they are remaking beloved cartoon characters into drug dealers, killers, etc. What happened to humanity that Hollywood can now take an innocent cartoon from the past and make it so horrible? I agree.
Yeah, it's almost like they think they have to make it like really crude in order to appeal to adults. I guess. I don't know. I know that like the body shaming jokes would not be would not be acceptable if they were about Velma's weight, since they made her pretty chubby in the remake.
Yeah,
She was
because
never
I
really, she
mean,
never really
she
was.
was
She
never
wore
no.
voluminous outfits. I mean, the sweater was always big, but even that,
Mhm.
you could see a slight form around her waist.
Yeah.
even when she was like there were episodes in which she was wearing like a bathing suit or something like that. Velma was never that
Look,
big.
we're not body shaming here, but at least two of us are somewhat overweight. I am about 40 to 50 pounds over what I'm supposed to be. And let me tell you something, I do not agree with now or ever with with the body positivity, healthy at all
No, I
size.
don't. I
I
don't.
have
I know I have to
diabetes
lose.
because of my poor choices.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah, I think I think we're all like qualified to talk about this. I'm definitely not in the lower end of the BMI spectrum here.
that I can. Even me. I'm like I'm struggling. I'm struggling to lose weight. I want to lose weight mostly, and it's not. It has nothing to
I
do
have
with
had an
appearances.
amputation. I have had an amputation of my toe because of diabetes, because of an infection that got into the bone. Okay. I feel qualified to say that I do not believe that you can be healthy at every size. I'm overweight
Hey,
and I am unhealthy.
that wasn't really my point. My point was I see no difference in body shaming Velma for being overweight than I do
Yeah.
for making little pee pee jokes
Oh.
about Fred. To me, those are the same thing. I don't
Yeah.
understand why they're
Yeah.
acceptable to
Why
do
do
for men,
why
but
do
they're
we as
not
women
acceptable to
It's
do
because
for
we're women.
women.
It's because they're women. Women get away with all of the jokes of men. You make one joke about a woman, and you know what? Here's the thing: it would be different. You hear about in the body positivity community, you don't hear about men being considered healthy at all sizes.
Yeah.
It's only the women. You don't see any of the women supporting men who are of those sizes. And most of these bigger women would rather have a smaller guy anyway. And let's not deny that.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I guess that was my
that's why I
point.
was going that's why well that's why I kind of diverged a little bit to go to my point. Because
Yeah.
why is it okay only that we have the body positivity at all sizes, but then we women get away with that and then make jokes about men's penis sizes?
It's really crappy. It's a really crappy thing to do. I think it's a total societal double standard, and you especially see it. And well, I mean, you can like the meme here is that like this the only joke they make in the show is about like body size jokes about Fred, which is absolutely just body shaming jokes, and quite frankly, very low IQ, low
Um
effort jokes.
yeah, I'm going to say one more on this before we got to wrap it up for this segment. JW on the Rotten Tomatoes wrote his review. This was just a few hours ago, as of the time of this posting. As of the time of this recording, JW says, biggest piece of dog shit I've seen this year. I barely could make it through the first episodes. They ruined every character by making them a shell of them former selves. If you tried to show me Norville and Fred and told me that those were the same characters, I would not believe you. They cut entirely everything about Shaggy's character about how he hates being called Norville, being a stoner, and even making him clean, well kempt. That is not Shaggy. Not only that, but the blatant attacking of their own audience for jokes that are not even funny. Everything about this is awful and not worth anyone's time. Apparently, the audience slamming continues in the show. Not just on the teaser and the trailer. It's in the show.
No, it's completely in the show. Like I've seen a lot of the reviews, and it's um like not only they changed the backgrounds of all the characters, they changed they attacked Norville as well because he's like trying to get hooked up with Velma, and Velma friend zone him. Um then we have the whole Daphne being with Fred, but also having a shared kiss with Velma because she's into it. So quote unquote Daphne is bisexual
Um,
as
here's
Are they
well.
fighting? Or didn't they have a falling out? Isn't that the whole thing? Was it Velma?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm so confused now.
No, that's why in the teaser you see them like grabbing their hands, and then the like freaking lovey dovey eye
They're mad
face
at each
whatever.
other, not friends anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. Now they're friends with benefits, I guess, or some bullshit like that. Who knows?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not gonna see this. I'm not. I don't want to.
Watching it.
I mean, there was a moment when I thought maybe we should just watch it so that y'all don't have to, but you know what? I can't even bring myself to ask that of any of us, especially not after A Christmas Story Christmas.
Yeah, that should have been a sign that this is not a format for for us.
Oh God! If I ever have to deal with that movie again, I'm just going to, run away screaming.
Yeah, that
So
was.
I'm not gonna make us watch this shit, especially since one of us would have to get another HBO Max.
Yeah,
No!
you know what? I would consider going and getting an HBO Max subscription because there are some things I need to watch on there, and then I see stuff like this, and I think, maybe I won't give them the money.
No.
Maybe I don't want to support them. And
It's called
I just saw
Pop
this article that was talking about how this is like the largest, like the biggest animated premiere on HBO Max. And it's like, yeah, but HBO Max, as far as I know, doesn't actually have any other animated shows. Like, this is the only animated show that I know of that they have. So,
Yeah.
um,
Anyway,
not
is
sure
what it
how
is.
that works.
It is what it is.
Thanks for geeking out with us this week.
If you enjoy our content, please like, share, and subscribe.
Stay tuned for our next segment.
Bye.
Bye.